everybody, and welcome. It's time for Minute to Skim It, comic book review show here on The Experience and streaming lots of different places. I'm Miss Jen. I read a lot of books this week, but not quite as many as I have in past weeks, which is mind-blowing amount of stuff. So I should be able to slow myself down today, I hope. Recovered from a trip to San Diego. There's a ton of really exciting releases this week in graphic novels. If you have a friend that you think would be benefiting from getting to hear all the cool stuff that's coming out in comic books, one of your friends you want to get into them and you haven't quite gotten them to realize that there's a big community that they can chat with about them all the time, do some sharing, do some hearts and some stuff, get some attention for the show, and then come back here and we'll get started. See you in a second. Everybody, it is a great week. There's some stuff out this week that probably you've been waiting for. You didn't know that you were waiting for. I promise you that there's some powness today. Anyone big fans of Tank Girl? I'm nostalgic for the 90s today. How about y'all? Let's look at some books. This is what I'm talking about. It's Tank Girl week. This one is really cool. It's a super summer special. There are a lot of really cool extras in this book. It's 4 stories presented as if they were released over a long period of time. And I don't know, this could be reprinted material, but I don't ever remember seeing any of this stuff before. It is exactly what you expect out of Tank Girl. A lot of his adventures are with her and Booga, her beloved kangaroo. And as advertised, usually I tell people it's Tank Girl's amazing, but it's also very disrespectful, in your face, no baloney, whatever. If you tell her to take her shirt off, she will, and she does in this book. So just make sure you avert your eyes. Be prepared. It's not until the 3rd story in here, but it is mixes of art. You're going to get a lot of Jamie art, which is what you're going to love, but some other stuff too. And then they did some of this cool stuff in the book where literally in part of it they have along the side, not that you would cut up a book, but you might want to get 2 of them just in case. But it has if you they seem like smaller packs than modern packs, but if you smoked and you wanted to have a Tank Girl replica of what it might look like to have a Tank Girl pack of smokes, they have one you can cut out and put over your cigarettos. And I think that's really cool. And then there's pictures of them riding bikes at the beach, the actual people that created this book back in the 90s. So it'll be, if you were a kid of the 90s, or even, older than that, but you remember being in love with this series, especially during the era of the movies, which came out in, was that 95, 96? When everyone all of a sudden was Tank Girl. Raise your hand if you shaved your head in the back and left something in the front. I have friends that did, so I cannot give side eye at it, and they look really good. So yeah, Tank Girl is back to make you feel nostalgic. And if you are also a person that's been looking for Tank Girl for a while, you can find the graphic novels okay, but individual books are super tough because really big fans of Tank Girl always buy them up. Pablo. So hey Bat Signal, hey Barlord. So kind of run, don't walk. I got that backwards today. To grab copies of this I don't know if there's a lot of different covers, but I'm assuming that there might be, because why wouldn't they? I'm hoping that there's a really good picture of Booga. I want a Booga cover because I'm a big fan of kangaroos that have attitudes. It's a good week for comics. We'll say that. Okay, I've been waiting for this book for a while because they started like pitching this book back at Comics Pro. Matt Kent was there and was talking about it. Plus, also Oni had this really cool like presentation where they invited retailers to come and hear Matt and team talk about what Fort Psycho had coming for us. It was also when they talked to us about my management, and I did not expect to be interested in Fort Psycho because it looks like just a bunch of neon nonsense, but it turns out it is totally my kind of jam. It was interesting at Comic-Con. They had just this wall of like, looked like coffee cans. It said Fort Psycho, and the ingredients and the nutritional information were really funny because they had to do with Fort Psycho stuff. And then there was a full, like, normally when they would like have like, this is the story of the company that made you this coffee and the people that handpicked them and the donkeys they rode, etc. It's not. It shows like a full-on story on the side of the can. They only made so many of them. Did they include Torma's phone number? Maybe, actually. I don't know. Torma literally berated me in the booth into getting one. He's like, are you sure you don't want to get one and open one? I was like, sure, I'll get one. So I have one for my rabid fan base that love this stuff. So one of my customers got the can. But it just was a lot of fun. It's like not often you get a comic in a can or on a can or however that worked. Corey's in the house. Okay, so the book, what is it about? I know that you're thinking. So in this universe, there is a big organization that's really idyllic setting. But they are still in prison. They don't ever get to leave again. And this guy is kind of showing up late. They've captured all the rest of them largely, and they're all on the island, and they kind of welcome him. There is a big twist, though, about like somebody else that's on the island. And that's where the kind of like the pitch for the book kind of like ends, and your mind has to start like, okay, well, everybody on the island is kind of a hired assassin military killer. So it's kind of like, where's it going from here? Like, is everyone able to trust each other? It looks like so far everything's fine. But also the things they've put in place to assure people are going to leave, those are also kind of like, great, thanks. Thanks for the payback for working so hard for you. So can't wait to see what's going on. YouTube's been weird. Sorry if I'm laggy. It's not me. Usually I'm the person that breaks all technology, but I assure you I'm not touching it right now. So Omega book is super trippy. This is 100% my kind of book. Absolutely. So this is about a scientist who he is very sure that there's something outside of what we can see. And when we meet him, he's kind of like made himself some goggles that can kind of see into space. Oh, my fan is unplugged. No, I'm going to die today. And without telling you too much, he does die and wills his, what he calls the Omega book, which clearly there's a big bad trying to hunt down in a very serious way. And there's another woman that's also on the hunt for it. So they kind of, I think, understand how powerful it is. The thing that's crazy about this is the son wants nothing to do with his dad or his dad's work. Because in his point of view, his dad chose science over his son. And so he's pretty pissed off. But the other cool thing about the storyline in general is that it kind of presents at the beginning that like the chances of the universe ending because of the events that are happening right now make it go from 1 in cajillion billions to, oh, it's now 1 in 375 or whatever. And that number continues to dwindle throughout the book, depending on what's happened. So you're just like, stop doing things. I don't want my universe to end, and the universe is pretty dope. I got comic books and such I have to read, and some Dungeon Crawler Carl. So this is good science, but also Crisis of Faith for the Sun, and there's other stuff that we can't see, which is also pretty spooky. So I'm down for this. I am always down for a little bit of crazy science-y whatever's going on in this book. Okay, I've not liked really liked a Power Rangers book since back in the Shattered Grid storyline. That one, I don't know, whoever wrote it, I totally understood what was going on. I liked the characters. They gave me good character development. And something's happened since then. It's just like there's so many Power Rangers, and they kind of assume that you know, like if you've read all of them, and you also have watched the shows, and you know what all the different kinds of Rangers are, like Samurai Rangers and whatever all those other guys are, their helmets are different, then it's been a wonderful ride for you. But for me, I am pretty confused. This is the first time in a long time, child of the 90s version of Power Rangers, in which there are a limited amount of characters. First time I felt like I was like, oh, I totally know what's going on today. So this actually presents Jason, the Green Ranger, as being kind of like lost to time. He's left the group, and the only people that are with him are Alpha. I know it does look like him, right? Look, the only one that's with him is Alpha and some girl that I'm not sure who it is, kind of presented as if it's maybe like an adopted daughter or somebody he's protecting. She's got pointy teeth, so that confuses me a little bit. And she doesn't have a name, but I didn't memorize it, and I apologize. But in this one, he is just kind of like trying to be a good like gardener or farmer and really not wanting to be bothered with anything else. But of course, into this shows up Goldar, who he automatically assumes is there to fight him, and it turns out that's not true in this book. The Goldar is like, hey, there is something big that we need you for, so much so that I'm going to forget that we're kind of enemies and stuff. So please help us. So that is a great setup for something to go on. It's like, I know who all those characters are. I know who Alpha and Goldar are, and I don't know who this girl is, but that's okay because the way they present her is she doesn't talk at all. So, you know, there's probably something wrong with her. Like some kind of like something happened to her in the past. And maybe it's a character you've seen before and you'll be like, aha, I know who this is. I'm super smart. But for me, who didn't know, it did not bother me. This is a great story and a great place to jump on. So if you've been trying to read Power Rangers recently and you're like, still don't get it, this is the one for you guys, the old school 90s Power Rangers lovers. Jump in here. Next book, ridiculous. 100% ridiculous. Along the same lines as the banana one from the other week. And there was another one that was kind of crazy like this. I will tell you, I love these kinds of books. I don't care that they're almost no word books. I don't care if they've got really weird stories and bizarre art. This is storytelling at its best when you're just like, you know what? I want to tell a story about a re-alligator. Reanimated alligator. Why not? Has everything worked out? Maybe there was a solar flare that's been messing with us. So this is about a hunter, great hunter, who you meet first shooting a lion. Danger to lions alert. Sorry, there's a lion that's killed in this book. And that is fine and dandy. But the thing here is that the lion that he kills gets taken by an actual alligator. This big guy. Mannix. And the storyline goes really crazy from there, where the hunter kills the alligator and cuts its head off, but then there's pyramids and there's magic and crazy other stuff. And I just can't even describe this book to you because it's that kind of unhinged craziness. But the art is all great. It's all the same kind of like black, white, and red, and a little bit of green. And it is on the newsprint that we love so much. Yes, if you like Dingleith, you will absolutely love this book. I cannot talk you out of it. You know me. I will try to talk you out of like dumb books. This is just fun for fun's sake. You know what you're getting into. It's not like you can say, no one told me that it was going to be ridiculous with a name like Realligator. All right. You guys want to know what really caught me off guard? So I read this whole book and I was thinking this was a fun Archie book. And then I looked at Tom King writing it. I'm like, Tom just wanted to have some fun. He was like, I've been writing some real serious stuff that makes people sad or feel things. And I just wanted to have Pimageddon. Okay. This book is largely about old Jughead and old Archie, gray-haired Archie and Jughead, sitting around and talking about like just having some memories. And one of the memories they had is like, oh, if we could have only have prevented or seen what would happen during this crazy thing that happened, Pimageddon. And so it's them reminiscing about this event. So imagine normal Archie, in which it talks about like Jughead is super hungry, but gets denied having any food because he doesn't have anything to pay, any way to pay for it. He's late for breakfast, whatever. And so he's supposed to show up for a pie eating contest. So he's got kind of like I will just hold on until then. And then there are circumstances that happen in which, I don't know, this never happens. Betty and Veronica get on each other's nerves and start fussing at each other. That always happens. And in this case, they get angry enough at each other, but not really. This is like friend fighting, in which they start throwing pies at each other. And every time they throw a pie, it hits somebody else that's sitting in the stands that wants to watch this actual event. And so it starts this huge food fight, in which it means that poor Jughead doesn't get food. And, that doesn't work out well. It's just super fun, straightforward, except for it's kind of interesting. In the middle of the book, it gives you a history lesson in which it talks about like the Archduke of Ferdinand's assassination and how that started after fight after fight after fight with hardly, there's dialogue that happens, but it's mostly about what's going in the fight. So I will just tell you, fight is all I'm going to say about this book, because that's all I got out of it. I apologize that I am not built for just a bunch of fighting Sigwits. That's not me. Yes, Kyle? Always is. And let's see what other cool things there are. It's like it allows for the fact that you have a bunch of big events that went through, including Civil War goes on without him. And instead of being him versus Tony, of course, it's going to be him versus Thor, which is very interesting. And so because of the way that worked out and the people that supported it, there is a giant company that's been formed called Archimex Stark Fujikawa. And the premise in the book is that because of what do they have actually changed here? Because of First Amendment rights changes and the abolishment of term limits, you can actually have companies be president. So in this case, this universe, that company is the president of the United States. Now it gets more sideways. So it is that storyline being told, which is really a fun story. And results in a cool new costume for Captain America, which is pretty sharp for $29.99 costumes. Sometimes they make them really dorky. And has a really good ending. So just lean back and enjoy the craziness. You'll get to see $20.99 characters that have been presented before, but in different ways. So there is $20.99 Ghost Rider and Wolverine and Punisher, and I'm trying to remember who else that we get in this book. But in any case, goodness prevails, and there's a surprise about who the president actually is. Be prepared for the what? If the boots don't have flair, are they really cat boots? Wait, do they have flair? Hold on just a second. Because they do have to have flair. That I agree with. Ooh, they're song flares. No flare. But they look really cute. I like them. They have to have flare or they have to look like military boots, right? Is that the rule? Because in the movie, they gave them the other thing. Okay. There are a couple of books for Queen in Black this week. I hope you got to pick up the beginnings of that event last week. It's starting out really strong. Noel has he's given up the idea of being a king in black because Hell has taken that over, and that's fine. He says that was all weakness anyway because having to rely on symbiotes, which are reliant themselves on whoever is their host, he says that's fine. I don't want that anymore. That's a weakness. So he's instead harnessed light and made himself some beautiful crystalline angels to be his warriors, and they don't require any kind of host. So he starts kind of, in my mind, in a very much stronger position from last week. So problem seems to be from YouTube to the viewers. Oh, man. Maybe if you jump over to Facebook, we've got it streaming from there. If you're having problems on the YouTube end of it, you might see if it clears up over on the Facebook side. So this one is really exploring the problem of Venom. In the series, you have Eddie in prison. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right book. I believe this is Eddie in prison because he was captured. And it's going to be hard for him to talk himself out of it because he did a lot of bad things. Yep, he's in prison. So he gets assigned a questionable lawyer because he's just a public defender. And he kind of plants his idea in Eddie's mind that he's been successful before with getting people out of this supermax, but only if what they have as a power is useful for whatever is now attacking Earth or wherever, right? And for Eddie, he's like, well, I don't have any powers. Like I don't have a symbiote. I made a bad mistake. I know I should not have taken on Carnage, and I did some things with Carnage that I should not have done. And so I understand why I'm being punished. So out of that part of the storyline is just kind of like the exploration of like, who's still trying to like do him in? Does he have any good way of getting out of there? He's really focused on worrying about his son, and he wants to have news about that his son is okay. So just think of this Venom Unchained book as a road toward the possibility that Eddie might get back the black symbiote known as Venom, who is currently firmly ensconced on MJ. I don't know how that might work. This is going to be a long storyline or decently long storyline. So I'm sure they'll eventually get around to what that looks like. But this is I like Venom a lot, especially Eddie's emotional journey through what that is about. This one, for me, is the strongest Queen in Black title this week. All right, there are 2 books this week that are kind of like video game related. This is Tokon's first strike. It is from the very get-go, because it's from Marvel Games. From the get-go, is presented as a 4v4 battle scenario. And, again, how much do I love just battle things? It's a little more complex than the other storyline that was kind of like just battle heavy. But it is very, if you like Rivals or any of those other books that are based in the video game universe, you will love this book. It does focus in on the characters you see on the front there. They're not lies. And I apologize. That is all I really can say about that book. I'm telling you, I need some character development to really love things. And that's what I get with the next book. I assure you that this is another video game based book that I loved. This one gives me everything I need. So this is based out of the Rivals universe and gives us an origin for the Hood, which is hilarious because I read the title and I knew what the title was, but I started reading the book and I was like, who is this kid? Why are we reading this story about this kid? Even though it was a really well-written story, I was like going, ooh, what's the through story with this? And then I remembered, like 3 pages to the end of the book, oh yeah, this is the Hood. It's a character you might not remember at all. They had a book that came out in the thousands, I think, and has had him appear maybe in a couple other books. But he is a character that just kind of like hasn't had a real big entry into the Marvel universe, even though he is very cool. And I think that I've heard rumors before that that really is a character that they intend to use a lot. But in what way, I don't know. So, origin story for this poor kid really has him with very interesting parents. His parents start out, Parker Robbins is a dope villain, kind of. Oh, a dope villain, not a dope villain. I was like, I don't remember him taking any dope, but no, he is a dope villain. So his family starts out as just trying to have a really good life, and they're contractors. But the problem is that they somehow cross Kingpin, and so they can't get any contract work. And so the dad eventually kind of like gives in and says, well, this way we can at least eat, have a life. But at some point during his I'm working for the Kingpin kind of, he pisses off Kingpin. So it does blow everything up for his family. So basically this kid as a young adult is kind of raising himself and also has been captured and put into jail. So he's like a jail origin. There's a lot of jail stuff going on this week, honestly. So it does bounce back and forth between that's the like the storyline of him as younger and where he is today. Recommend reading from me, The Hood, Blood from Stones. Okay, Blood from Stones. Perfect. Thank you guys. You long box. So yeah, it's interesting because most of the time in this book they call him Parker, and it's really crazy if you're also reading a lot of other Marvel books and you're thinking Peter Parker. So not that Parker. Parker Robbins. And he turns out to be a really cool character with a good origin. And his costume is 100% amazing. 100% amazing. And weirdly, he does end up in prison, I think, with Captain America. I think that's true. So anyway, this is a really great book this week. I know I've given Zink. She kind of like figures her own stuff out that way. The second story is called Vamp Number 9, in which Mary Jane is currently on a film set in which she is playing both a vampire and a zombie vampire. I don't know how that works. So zombies are anyway. So she's got a really cool costume she wears. So it's just her basically having like discussion with Pete about it's interesting how we both wear costumes, but yours looks dead when it's laying on the sofa by itself without you in it, which is an interesting thing to say. And he himself mentions that he's trying to hunt down this bad guy who he can't get a picture of because it's kind of a ghostly apparition kind of bad guy. And the story is about her being on her own set and realizes that on the set there is this character. And so she, like an MJ does, figures out a way to actually kind of like do something about that, which is really, really cool. She's a really smart cookie, I just have to say. So the ones I didn't get to read were a Straczynski story called Soft Words at Sunset, which sounds like it's gotta be a sad story. And then it is a lot of the team. Remember, last week they formed 2 teams. They've got Team Dark, because remember there's 2 teams. The 2 people are fighting. They're fighting Null, which is he's basically using light, right? So the people fighting him are Beta Ray Bill, Photon, Sunfire, and Dagger. And then Team Dark, which will go up against Hela, Iron Man, Cable, Darkstar, Cloak, and Agent Anna Venom. And it's interesting, like Tony has made a new suit that's specifically formed to be able to fight against symbiote stuff. You get to see some of the characters that were introduced last time. The Kree Supreme Intelligence Skrull Captain Alliance, who has a pretty good look. I like that look. And what else do we get in this one? You get to see a little bit more of the characters that were presented last time, including a revelation of a character. I believe this character has been around before, but I'm not going to mention their name, so I don't want to mess anything up for you. But it does definitely have Dylan with Red Symbiote on, who I'm guessing is probably Carnage, but I cannot remember for sure. So ends with, big fight. And forward the storyline, there is a giant, it looks like a Venom head in a jar with little, long feet on it. It kind of looks like if you were going to take, nope, I'm not going to remember his name. Anyway, he's there on the cover. That guy. He's more dangerous than he looks. He looks kind of ridiculous, but he's pretty powerful. The next book might be my absolute favorite Marvel books this week.
Did MODOK get the symbiote? Because that's what it feels like heavily.
It does look a lot like that, but I cannot remember if that's really him or if it's something completely new. But thank you. That is the word I was looking for. It does look like his MODOK bottom. The thing that confuses me is he's not trying to always put everyone on TV. So, okay. Fantastic Four 15 is in continuity with what's been going on. When last we saw them, they had been struck by, what's this guy named? Simon, double S name, who has kind of thrown them back through time. So they are trying their darndest. They only really show up once every decade in one spot in time. And sometimes they actually interact with the same person over those times, but they are realizing that the people that have any hope of helping them be able to get out of this backwards time pull are becoming less and less possible as they are experiencing people with less and less technology. Necessarily work because she figures out eventually, but they don't know because whenever they show up, because of the way the time's working for them, they don't remember they've seen her because they're working backwards. It's like watching Tenet when the people in Tenet don't know what's going on. But she does. So it's just such a wonderful storyline about her really working hard to try to give them what they want. And basically it takes her entire life to do so. So I'm going to see if I can find this guy's name. So funny when you're reading a story, you feel like they say it 20 times. And when you go looking for it, you're like, well, I don't see it on any page I'm looking for. It's not going to be there. No. Okay. It's funny because it's not going to be any pages that she's in because only when they show up. This is crazy. They can't. Oh, Nicholas Scratch. Nicholas Scratch. I've got it wrong. Sorry. Tenet broke its own laid out rules. Yes, but it has a really dope soundtrack. Give it some love. So this was, I will say, if you are not reading Fantastic Four at all, shame on you, because Fantastic Four has been stellar from the very beginning. Jump in here. You might find yourself falling in love with it, even if you are not normally a Fantastic Four lover, which I will tell you, just like Wonder Woman, I just never really glommed onto this team. But now I'm in love with them because of who's writing them. So think about joining in there. All right. I'm sorry. That was a lot of Marvel. Now we're out of Marvel and we're into some of my favorite stuff on the planet. This is Ghost Machine's official guidebook. We're starting in here with Hyde Street. Just like usual, Ghost Machine does a really good job in pages that are not part of the main index, giving you all the information you need to know for like what is tied to what. So it goes back and tells you what the other official guidebooks were. And it talks about like, oh, well, the first ones we talked about were all the things that were in the unnamed, which are the characters that are from Geiger and Redcoat, etc. And the no, well, it does look like a cave woman, but all the characters that are in this book are from Hyde Street, which is all the horror-based characters, including that monkey down there, which is the smallest monkey ever. And that's, I think, his name. But and it also tells us about the team that the $1 Trillion Kid is putting together, which is the Impossibles. And then it talks about there's one that's kind of like a standalone. I forgot what it was talking about. Hold on. Put it in my brain. No, I could open it, but I'm not. And then Hyde Street. So it's whatever the last group of stuff is, the one that I haven't mentioned. Just like all of them, there are definitely things that are presented in this guidebook, which are going to be first appearances. And you can tell that because it'll say where a character's first appearance is. And if the first appearance of the character is... Am I right?
You are so close. But here's something to help you out.
All right, here it is. Here's the name that you're going to hear. You're going to tell yourself, I finally know, and then you're going to forget about it, just like people who have known me for 20 years do. The way you pronounce my name is Stepan Shage.
Dadgummit! It's an A sound. Shage. I have the vowels, the consonant sounds. And we've heard from him later in that interview, which was a great interview that was during Order Up a few weeks ago, that he will be very happy if you show up at a convention and say his name correctly. He will like lose his mind probably. He'll know you watched the show, clearly. So this is his long-running series, Death Vigil. It's wonderful. It's like double-sized book, and it actually has in it a front page that tells you what every single character is and what they're kind of like, what their abilities are, what the universe looks like, how they're related to each other, and how magics and other things work in this universe. It is 100% beautiful. There are relationships that are part of the book, which are very complex. And if you are a fan of kind of like fantasy magic, that's where it feels like in here, mixed with a little bit of like angel demon kind of stuff, but not exactly. I can neither confirm or deny you loaded that clip because of this book. I felt like you had it all ready to go. I would give you a high five for that. That was amazing. I've been practicing it in my brain all day, so now I have to change it to Shage. I have it literally on my computer at the front of the store because I wrote it down when I was watching Order Up, and then I need to change my vowel in there. J. Fauci. So anyway, the art is all gorgeous just like this. There's some crazy, crazy animal, demon-y characters that are part of the series. You should jump in here. You don't have to have read Death Vigil at all to enjoy this universe at all. And it's Top Cow. This is so cool. This is Iman Vellani, who played Miss Marvel. If you were wondering if she's a talented person, she's a very talented person. This is a crazy, I did not know what I was getting into read. Chachu, by the way, means uncle. This story is about a girl who is that girl on the front cover there. I guess she's kind of a woman who has found herself in life with big questions about her father, who is dead. We're going to use dead because, like, for all comic books in which one of the main characters are presented as dead, they're usually dead. But maybe he's dead. The brother disappeared a long time ago. The storyline in the book isn't that he disappeared so much as he married a very famous actress, and so just kind of like scuttled from the family. In the book, she figures out where he lives by interesting means and shows up in his town, and there's car accidents in this book. But then you find out that the dad, so the father of the famous actress, is also maybe her agent, and also will put a gun to the husband's head if the daughter doesn't show up at this movie premiere. It's all kinds of like crime noir. She feels a lot like the character feels like a little bit like if you kind of like took the actress that wrote this book and put her in the role of Poker Face, but there's no like truth telling things in this. Just the attitude of that character feels like this girl. I don't know any other way to explain it. It feels like the best version of like an indie. You've never ever seen anything like this kind of characters. It took me a while to understand the relationship between these characters. Like, but wait a minute. Is this his father-in-law that's got a gun to his head? I don't. It doesn't seem that he's worried about it at all. A little bit. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe he should be more worried. So anyway, this one is one you might think about picking up if any of the things I just talked to you about seem interesting. So do it. Not to be missed is the next book, Batman number 12, in which we get an introduction of Verity Pennyworth. You have a dead Alfred who somehow presents himself as a hologram that talks to Bruce, showing up and saying, I know I'm gone, and I left you a whole bunch of paperwork with instructions. And the instructions include that Verity's going to come and take my place. And what you find out is there is a secret organization, or maybe not secret, who knows, that trains up people that are supposed to be in positions like this, like Alfred was, where he's not only just a butler, he's also a protector and knows way more stuff than a normal butler should know. And so this is his niece, I believe, who has been trained to do this part. So this is kind of like a getting to know you at work situation in which there's big things afoot, including there's a Joker appearance in this book. Remember that weird, creepy Joker that Batman went and visited in the doctor's laboratory, who's all naked and got like the big Eminem Joe thing on it, breather mask on his face. That guy's creepy. So this is a great book. So this is going to be first Verity in the book, plus, getting to know yous, and she's a smart cookie. She's everything that Alfred said. So definitely get this book. And then, how much fun is this? They've been giving us some fun Masters of the Universe books that feel like they're very much related to the movie we saw. Just fun, kitschy. This is basically kind of origin story for I'm not going to remember their names. The bad guy characters that are from the sea. It starts with them. Dadgummits. It's just mer people. I was trying to come up with something so merman, but the mer people and the beast men. And where'd you get beast man from? Like that they've been mortal enemies, since the beginning of time. It sounds like as soon as the mermen came out of the ocean and encountered the beast men on land, they have been trying to kill each other over and over and over and over and over again. And in this relationship steps in Skeletor and says, hey, hi, I'm Skeletor. And you're going to bow your knee to me and stop fighting each other and help me fight somebody else. And so this is kind of like the beginning of the relationship of Skeletor over them, and also has Hordak in there, which Hordak is one of those people that Skeletor describes as being someone who, despite Skeletor being responsible for a great many victories in battles, that Hordak always steps in and says that he's responsible. So on him. So continues to be fun. I don't know if you guys watched the movie and liked it, but since I am a child that watched that show specifically as a kid, I go right back to my childhood and enjoy it for what it is, which is fun stuff. In graphic novels this week, there's some important stuff that drops. Not only is DCKO finally out, which I know you're probably thinking to yourself, why do I need to read DCKO again? Because that book, I didn't understand it when it came out. Well, I will tell you that because so much right now is going on that is connected to the events that happened in that thing, including like the most recent Superman issue, was directly tied to the things that happened in DCKO. It also has for you the cool battle royale in graphic novel form, which was that, like, what if characters from outside of the universe came out? I think it has the boss battle in there. Big battles. Is that boss battle? Yep, boss battle. So you can have your issue of Homelander in there, and then all fight. All fights also in there. So that you should be able to get everything that you want. So this is all the tie-ins that people had a hard time getting a hold of. Superman, Captain Atom, the Aquaman, Wonder Woman versus Lobo, Titans 30, Harley Quinn, Zatanna, Flash 28, Superman 33, Red Hood versus the Joker. All the ones that are really, really tough. So, and then also Ultimate Black Panther Volume 4, Nova Centurion. Mafia Nanny. If you were reading the awesome webtoon, Mafia Nanny, I cannot wait to read this one because it's a slow burn spice fest. I will just say. Rocket Fellers Volume 2, Nectar. You see Barbaric? Yes. Justice League of America Crisis on Earth X. Batman Static Beyond, which Static actually shows up as a sub-story in the backup thing of the Batman book this week. Catwoman, Court of Fools, Gunslinger. There's a new Cami Garcia Teen Titans book, which will make all the teens go crazy. Teen Titans Go, Aquaman, Barbaric, Lone Death, Batman Arkham, including Clayface, and many, many more. Today is a really, really big drop for graphic novels. So YouTube is pooping the bed. That's why you have a backup called the Facebooks, the books of face. All right, everybody. That is the end of this show. Run to your local comic shop or call them and reserve the books that you heard about today that you were interested in. And barring that, if you don't have a local comic shop, which I'm really sad for you, you can just come right back because I'm going to do a live show for 2 hours and sell the things I just showed you, plus some other really cool stuff, including some really rare Golden Age are hiding on my board today. And then after that, you've got some aggressive positivity. Those guys are awesome. I saw what they're reviewing, and it's not your normal stuff. So tune in and see them. Have fun. Different voice than me. Sorry, you always have to see my head. I apologize. All right, everybody. I will see you guys back here in just about 3 minutes.